Hello, and welcome to another Lincoln property blog, brought to you by Ben from Walters of Lincolnshire. This week we look at Lincoln rents, as they hit £1,014 per month. When you look back at the average rents achieved in Lincoln over the last 5 years, from 2021 through to 2025, a clear pattern emerges. Lincoln saw extraordinary growth in rents as the market experienced a period of exceptional pressure post-pandemic, yet in the last 12 months is now settling into something far more measured. That distinction matters. After several years in which Lincoln rents rose sharply and competition among tenants was intense, 2025 represented a shift towards balance. For many local tenants, that brings welcome relief. For landlords, it brings a different set of opportunities, provided expectations are adjusted and decisions are grounded in reality rather than headlines. So let us look at those last 5 years of rents in Lincoln and compare them against national figures. 2021. Average rent in Lincoln was £715 per month. In 2022, it was £759 per month. By 2023, average rent had increased to £807 per month. In 2024, they had increased to £966 per month. And last year, average rent in Lincoln was £1,014 per month. That's a rise of 41.8% in 5 years. Now let's set these against the national picture. 2021. UK average rent was £1,390 per month. In 2022, it was £1,549 per month. By 2023, UK average rent had increased to £1,723 per month. In 2024, it had increased to £1,813 per month. And last year, the UK average rent was £1,838 per month. That's a rise of 32.2% in 5 years. What this shows is that while rents in Lincoln have risen significantly since 2021, the pace of growth has moderated during the last 12 months. That moderation is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that the market is once again absorbing supply and demand more evenly and coming more into balance. So why has the Lincoln rental market cooled without going cold? After years of intense pressure, conditions have eased. Competition between tenants is lower, supply has improved, and thus rent growth has slowed. On new lets nationally, annual rent inflation is now running at 1.4%, the slowest pace seen in around 7 years. Average rents nationally sit at £1,838 per month, rising at around a third of the pace of wages, currently 4.6%. That is an important point. It signals that rents are no longer racing ahead of incomes, helping stabilise tenancies and reduce churn. The reasons behind this shift are structural rather than temporary. Tenant demand is down by roughly a fifth compared with last year, according to 𝕉𝕬𝕝. Net migration has fallen sharply from the exceptional levels seen earlier in the decade, easing one of the biggest drivers of rental pressure. At the same time, improved mortgage availability has enabled more renters to enter home ownership, releasing additional rental stock back into the market. This is not a market losing momentum, it is a market regaining equilibrium. Now let's look at what supply looks like in Lincoln, year by year, as supply is the other half of the equation, and it is where many landlords misread the local picture. Looking at the number of rental homes coming onto the Lincoln market, 2021 new rental listings in Lincoln was 5,172. In 2022, the figure was 5,095. By 2023, this had reduced to 4,872 new rental listings. 2024 saw 4,715 new rental listings in Lincoln, and last year the figure had increased to 5,505. What becomes apparent is that supply has improved locally over the last year, broadly in line with national patterns, but without overshooting demand. That is a crucial distinction. Lincoln has not suddenly become oversupplied, it has simply moved away from the shortage conditions of 2022 to 2024. So, Why this is good news for Lincoln tenants and sensible news for landlords. For Lincoln tenants, the benefits are obvious. More choice, fewer bidding wars, and less pressure to make rushed decisions. That leads to longer, more stable tenancies and better outcomes on both sides. For Lincoln landlords, it is my opinion the opportunity lies in one's shifting focus. The most successful landlords are rarely those who chase the maximum headline rent every year. They are the ones who prioritise a balance between occupancy, tenant quality, and long-term income without any hassle. In a calmer Lincoln rental market, pricing accurately matters more than pricing aggressively. Overstretching on rent is more likely to result in void periods, which erode returns far faster than a modest increase. Another factor often overlooked is house price stability. A stable sales market in Lincoln makes it easier for landlords to plan, whether that is buying, refinancing, or rebalancing a portfolio. When prices are not swinging wildly, investors can assess opportunities based on fundamentals rather than speculation. Yield, tenant demand, and running costs come back to the front. For landlords considering entering or expanding in Lincoln, that stability reduces risk and supports more confident decision-making. What a professional approach looks like in 2026 and beyond. As the Lincoln rental market normalises, a more professional approach becomes essential. Properties that are well presented, well maintained, and sensibly priced continue to let well in a timely manner. Clear communication around rent reviews helps maintain trust. Landlords who understand their local data, rather than relying on national headlines, are better placed to make informed decisions. This is also a market that rewards compliance and good management. As standards rise across the sector, and with the new rental legislation already introduced, plus what is on the horizon with the Renters' Rights Act, those already operating properly will find the transition far smoother than those who have relied on scarcity to mask weaknesses. Looking back at rent data from 2021 to 2025, the long-term trend remains positive. What has changed is the pace, not the principle. For Lincoln landlords, 2026 marks a return to a market that rewards patience, preparation, and realism. Tenants benefit from greater fairness and choice. Landlords benefit from stability, predictability, and the ability to build sustainable income over time. In short, a calmer rental market is not something to fear. For those taking a long-term view in Lincoln, it may well be exactly the environment in which sensible decisions deliver the best results. For more insights and information, visit the Lincoln Property blog at walters-property.com/blogs. Until next time, take care. If you are thinking about selling and want an honest, evidence-based opinion on your Lincoln home's actual market value, with no fluff, no pressure, and no nonsense, I would be delighted to help. To ensure all our clients get the absolute best experience and a total marketing strategy as unique as their homes, we only list 20 properties per month. Our January and February market appraisal slots are now available to book. We ensure that you are always a name and not just a number with Walters.